I want to address that issue because people were now making references that I shouldn't have spoken about Peter Obi or Ibrahim Traore in that manner. I want to make clarifications so that people will understand the importance of the subject matter, not the emotional aspect of it. The way forward is for Ibrahim Traore to immediately start to invest in generation of electricity with the method that I have talked about. The difference is that the white people in South Africa invested heavily in industries. People will now start saying, this Dr. Caesar Iyayi is an agent of the West. That is because you just want to talk trash. The facts are very obvious. South Africa is on the decline because white people handed over more than 20 years ago, and our black brothers that took over, they have been mismanaging the economy. Don't forget what happened in Zimbabwe where Mugabe drove away white people and gave the land to our brothers and sisters who don't even have the technology, they don't have the know-how to carry out the farm business, and Zimbabwe was on the decline. Obasanjo did what they call indigenization decree, where he drove away foreign people and replaced them with Nigerians. The trouble is not to replace with Nigerians, it's to replace with Nigerians that have the capability. What is made in Nigeria? Nothing. Are we human beings like white people? Yes. Where is the evidence? Show me the evidence. Hello everybody, my name is Dr. Caesar Osaheni Iyayi. I am your advocate for the industrial manufacturing, industrial development of the continent of Africa. A process that I have always insisted should begin from Nigeria for two reasons. One, Nigeria has the highest gas reserve in the world, which is necessary for generating electricity. Electricity is central to industrial manufacturing. It is from Nigeria that you can pipe gas to all the countries in Africa. And number two, Nigeria has the largest population in Africa of about 250 million people. And today, I would like to address the feedback that we had from my last podcast, where I talked about the need for Ibrahim Traore to invest in industrial manufacturing, that if he continue to do what he's doing now, import parts to manufacture or to assemble electric cars, look at it, made in Rwanda. It's an illusion. That is what I want to talk about. I want to address that issue because people were now making references that I shouldn't have spoken about Peter Obi or Ibrahim Traore in that manner. I want to make clarifications so that people will understand the importance of the subject matter, not the emotional aspect of it, but the practical and technological aspect of our conversation. The point is very clear, and there are examples. When you look at the continent of Africa, we have had many examples where you had 1, 2, or 3 leaders that were very prudent. A good number of them were eliminated. So far, one of them has survived. His name is Paul Kagame. He has been there now for upwards of 20 years. I didn't check the statistics, but it seems to me he's been there now for more than 24 years or so. Yet the GDP of Rwanda is around $14 billion. $14 billion. Compared to a country like Burkina Faso, before I checked the statistics, I didn't even realize that Burkina Faso was almost double the GDP of Rwanda. Burkina Faso at the moment is controlling about $27 billion economy. Look at Guinea with all the bauxite. I talked about bauxite last time. I said they are exporting bauxite. They ought to be manufacturing finished product. And people really did not understand the importance of my comments. Because when I checked the GDP of Guinea, it was way below that of Burkina Faso, 24 billion. Whereas Burkina Faso is $27 billion. Rwanda, where Paul Kagame has stayed for over 20 years, uninterrupted. He has been very prudent. He has kept the street very clean. They sweep the streets every day, made some roads, built some schools, and then they pretend that they are assembly computers. nothing has actually been added in the way of value to the economy of Rwanda. That is what I'm trying to caution Ibrahim Traore about. I want people to understand that Ibrahim Traore can spend another 30 years there doing what he's doing now, assembling electric cars, cleaning the streets, buying machinery to do agriculture, and the country will remain impoverished. So what is the way forward? The way forward is for Ibrahim Traore to immediately start to invest in generation of electricity with the method that I have talked about. I have not checked to know if they have coal, because if they have coal, they can pulverize coal, and there's a method you use after pulverizing coal to generate enough power to turn an electric turbine. That is what South Africa is doing. So you have South Africa with a population of 64 million, having the largest economy in Africa at $424 billion. Egypt, the population of about 120 million people, they control about $344 billion. Algeria, with a population of 47 million, they have a higher GDP than Nigeria, with a population of about 250 million. And what is the difference? The difference is that the white people in South Africa invested heavily in industries. And that is why it is the case that even though they don't have oil, they don't have gas, they have coal, they have gold. But if it was just gold that they are exporting, they would not have a 400 plus GDP economy. It's the value added that had allowed them to get to that level. And South Africa is on the decline because white people handed over more than 20 years ago, and our black brothers that took over, they have been mismanaging the economy. They are not investing prudently in manufacturing the way white people did. As a matter of fact, just last week here, I saw on Fox television where Donald Trump said he was giving visas to white South Africans who were displaced from their farms to return to America. He will give them citizenship. Don't forget what happened in Zimbabwe when Mugabe drove away white people from their farms and gave the land to our brothers and sisters who don't even have the technology, they don't have the know-how to carry out the farm business. And Zimbabwe was on the decline. They had him in power because the people who were in the military that they did the revolution together were benefiting so much from the system, and they didn't want any change, even though Mugabe was mismanaging the economy. I'm hearing and I'm reading about how they are getting white people to submit and leave the country in Guinea and maybe in the Sahel, maybe in Niger and all that. Let me tell you this, you do not take measures that you cannot control. People will now start saying, this Dr. Caesar Iyayi is an agent of the West. That is because you just want to talk trash. The facts are very obvious. Anything about industrialization, anything about science is at the purview of Western civilization and Asia. Nothing in Africa. So if we are going to have any form of technological transfer, we have to go to them to mentor us. You don't succeed by chasing them out. When you chase them out, what do you replace them with? Obasanjo did what they called indigenization decree, where he drove away foreign people and replaced them with Nigerians. The trouble is not to replace with Nigerians, it's to replace with Nigerians that have the capability, that have the intellect, that have the sagacity, that have the drive to carry out manufacturing. You don't chase them out and replace them with your cronies. Look at what happened when they did the second phase, the second coming of Obasanjo. Look at our electrical system. You have a friend who was a puppet to you, who served under you as a personal assistant, because he has the ability to kneel down and greet your wife and help to take your children to school, and Dobale say, he's a very loyal person. And you promote him. The next thing, you give him a contract. Now he's a billionaire. You want to sell NEPA, transfer NEPA to BDC or whatever you want to call it. He said, I have money. And he goes and buys. He buys it, or they buy it. They don't have the acumen, the industrial acumen, the business acumen. They don't have it. They lack it. They have the money, but do they have the drive? No. It's a good thing to put Nigerians in charge of our economy. Yes, it is a good thing. But look for the right people. The resources of Nigeria are in the hands of people that don't have the intellectual and the managerial capacity to run the Nigeria economy. They have money, but they don't have ideas. They have money, they don't have drive. After they buy the electrical company or NEPA transform to be various disco, they go and sit there in their houses. They go and sit there in overseas. They don't care what is happening. There's a rainstorm, not a rainstorm, just a shower with some wind, and all the light goes off. Why? Because one electric pole falls from here, another one falls from there. It takes them 2 weeks to go and replace them. It's a shame. I've approached some of them on multiple occasions. I said, look, the problem you have now is that there's light coming from the national grid, but interruptions coming from electric poles falling here and there. You will see under a high tension, you see tree growing just about half a meter away from the national grid. Everywhere you see it. Nobody has the common sense to go and cut those trees down. Because as the tree continues to grow, it's going to make contact with those cables and it will bridge and there will be no light. You can see it coming. They have eyes, but they cannot see. So, what I'm talking about when I talk about Traore is that he's there now. His economy is already larger than that of Rwanda. Mugabe has been there for 20 years. He hasn't done anything. Nothing. Okay, we hear they are assembly computers. They sweep their streets. What's that? Gibberish. Until you start manufacturing finished product, you are not contributing anything to the economy. Your country will remain where it is. Your people will remain impoverished. When you have the ability to manufacture what you consume, you start to add value. Algeria, like I said, the population less than 60 million. South Africa is 67 million. Egypt about 120. They have larger economy than us. Nigeria economy as at today is now $188 billion. 4 years ago or 5 years ago, it was 400 billion. So what happened? Devaluation of the naira. How do you control the valuation of the naira? By producing what you consume. Everything you are importing from China, imagine if you start manufacturing some of them here. Then you will not have to source for dollar to import them. You get to keep your money here. But when you are encouraging Chinese and Indians to start taking over your manufacturing sector to the disadvantage of Nigerians, what happens to the money? Nigerians go to America and to Britain to work. When they earn money, they start transferring money to Nigeria. Is that not what they do? Then why should you blame the Chinese when they come to Nigeria to come and work? They will send their money back to China. They will send their money back to India. It's not rocket science. It's common sense. Why can't we, as a government, sit down, start identifying products? We have it as a matter of duty that in the next 2 years, we are going to manufacture A, B, C. As a goal, set a goal for yourself and strive to achieve it. The only thing that could have stopped you from doing it is power. And you can generate power from gas. You have the largest gas reserve in the world. You have a population of 250 million people. What is stopping you? What is stopping you? The only thing that is stopping us is we ourselves not having that drive, that initiative. We must have it. We must learn to have it. I have decided that I shall sink or swim on the ship of Nigeria. I'm not going anywhere. That is why I will continue to talk and to preach, to announce to the world that Nigeria has everything it takes to make a difference, and we'll be able to do it. So, to Peter Obi, yes, like I said before, he was there for 8 years. If he had known what I'm talking about now, if he had put in some efforts, even that money that he left for the next governor to come and enjoy, if he had just put that money to encourage Innocent Motors and other manufacturers there to start manufacturing things right there, from the element, from raw material to finished product, Once many Nigerians see that it is happening, it will take a few months. You see many Nigerians will be putting their money in there. Look at everywhere now in Nigeria, hotels. Because people see that they build hotels and they are making money. Everybody is building hotels. Everywhere. In my city, every street there's at least 1, 2, 3 hotels now. When you go to India or China, every street there are industries. That is the way it should be in Nigeria. Those hotels that we have built now, if you have industry and manufacturing centers here, you have more people that can use the hotel. When people discover that they can make money from churches, you now start having churches every street. Baba Gio, Mommy Gio, Papa Gio, and all these things, making money. They saw 2, 3 people do it, it was working, everybody jumped into it. That is the way I want an example to be demonstrated in manufacturing, and you see everybody will go into it because we have the foundation, that gas that is there. Eventually, there will be more elections. Maybe Peter Obi will win. If he wins, that's the message I'm trying to give him. Yes, you are prudent, but what have you been able to influence that will bring about manufacturing of finished products? The camera you are using to record me now is made probably in China or in Japan. The stand, the shoe I'm wearing, my clothing, of course, my tailors, they make my suit. But the fabric are imported, the buttons are imported. Look at the air conditioner there, the lighting system, the speakers. What is it? Light bulbs, ceramic tiles. What is made in Nigeria? Nothing. Are we human beings like white people? Yes. Where is the evidence? Show me the evidence. We'll start to see the evidence when we start manufacturing things that we consume. When I look back at history, I begin to see that it is really possible. Do you know that in closing, in the year 1100, that is 1,100 years after Jesus Christ, you say AD, Abdul Dominum, which is in the year of our Lord. So from that time to the year 1,100, now we are in 2025, right? In the year, which is about 100 or something, 1,000 plus years ago. The Islamic scholars were at the cutting edge of science. You do hear me? 66% of the stars that were named by Arabic scholars, they were into science. Baghdad was leading. Algebra was discovered in Baghdad by Islamic scholars. Algorithm, which is now a famous word now because of its ability to function in the computer industry and in artificial intelligence. It's an Arabic word. So what happened? One scholar came, said mathematics is a manipulation of the devil. So he discovered a new way on how Muslims should practice Islam, and they removed science from their endeavor. White people took over, and with the help of science, they are able to dominate the world. Next time, I'm going to talk about how Trump went to visit Middle East, visit Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, United Arab Emirates. It's a puzzle. We'll talk about that next time. I'm Dr. Cesar Osahene Yayi. I'm your advocate for the industrial development, industrial manufacturing of Africa. I believe this is the only way we'll be able to save ourselves. After that, I will also talk about the dominance of China and the threat of China to Africa. Thank you very much. See you next time. Bye-bye. I want to address that issue because people were now making references that I shouldn't have spoken about Peter Obi or Ibrahim Traore in that manner. I want to make clarifications so that people will understand the importance of the subject matter, not the emotional aspect of it. The way forward is for Ibrahim Traore to immediately start to invest in generation of electricity with the method that I have talked about. The difference is that the white people in South Africa invested heavily in industries. People will now start saying, this Dr. Cesar Yayi is is an agent of the West, that is because you just want to talk trash. The facts are very obvious. South Africa is on the decline because white people handed over more than 20 years ago, and our black brothers that took over, they have been mismanaging the economy. Don't forget what happened in Zimbabwe when Mugabe drove away white people and gave the land to our brothers and sisters who don't even have the technology, they don't have the know-how to carry out the farm business, and Zimbabwe was on the decline. Obasanjo did what they called indigenization decree, where he drove away foreign people and replaced them with Nigerians. The trouble is not to replace with Nigerians, it's to replace with Nigerians that have the capability. What is made in Nigeria? Nothing. Are we human beings like white people? Yes. Where is the evidence? Show me the evidence.